So let's get to business. Today's town hall is a wrap-up from last week's APMP Western Region Conference. And for those of you that don't know who APMP is, it's the Association of Proposal Management Professionals. And that's for all of our non-proposal associates. We had our second annual Western Region Conference at Disney's Grand Californian Hotel in Anaheim, California. Last week, from noon last Thursday through all day Friday, we had 82 people register, which was much higher than last year. And this is the second year that we've had this 1.5 day format. The picture you see here is all the attendees, or at least those that, this was taken on Friday lunchtime, all those that weren't glued to their phone or their laptop. This was just after lunch, and this is our official conference picture. So a little bit about APMP, the Western chapter. We were actually established in July 2021 as a merger of two other chapters, the California chapter, which itself was a merger of two chapters, Northern California and Southern California, and a chapter called the Valley of the Sun chapter, which was in Arizona. And that was actually the very first APMP chapter, chartered in 1991. So as a part of this merger, now we're the local area chapter for APMP members in Hawaii, California, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. And in addition to the conference that we put on every year, we provide monthly webinars from invited speakers. We have a casual West Coast coffee roast meeting via Zoom, and a very robust mentor, mentee, and student program. So as well as looking after the professional development needs of our traditional members from organizations submitting proposals to win new business, we're actively reaching out to universities to get students interested in proposal development as part of our intentional career path program. This is your SMA team at the event, and you can see me on the left there with Ryan Osborne, one of our new BD leads, Jacques, of course, our COO. And then on the right, there's Heather and Paddy, also BD leads, you know them well. And of course, Heather is actually the chapter chair for the Western chapter right now. Everybody who attended got a copy of the SMA Way, the style guide for proposal writers. We gave them a copy of the SMA Competitive Index for federal contractors and an SMA book cube, which were very popular. And I later realized in talking with one of the attendees, the book cube, having pictures of our books on each face, adds a second layer of complexity to the solution. It's not just a case of getting all the pictures on the correct face, but also getting them in the correct order and orientation. So I did the first presentation. We had a bag lunch on Thursday. I did the first presentation on how not to write proposals like an amateur. This is selected concepts from AJ's presentation at Bid and Proposal Conference in Orlando last May, and then some material from my review of the SMA Way, the style guide. And so from AJ's presentation, we took the 4 traps of the curse of knowledge, which is the obscurity trap, jargon, wordiness, and evasive language, the anonymity trap, not letting the unique personality of your company come through, the hard sell trap, using superfluous phrases and empty promises, and the tedium trap, the tendency to use generalities instead of details that get to the point. These sort of checklists, this idea of nailing things down to 3 or 4 concepts was very popular with the attendees. Also going through some stuff from the style guide, like the writing checklists, such as the 5 keys of writing style, active voice, first person, present tense, being positive and avoiding stilted phrases, the 6 ways of making our messages clear, being specific, using the customer's language, not fearing using little words, avoiding cliches, being careful when using acronyms and omitting needless words, and of course, one of my favorites, the 7 C's, being compliant, credible, compelling, correct, consistent, concise, and clear. And it's I think people really appreciate having these sort of simple checklists, you know, when you're doing proposals. It really keeps you on track. One of the things we want to emphasize, particularly out there to our proposal professional associates, is the importance of APMP certifications. And these are the ones that APMP offers. There are actually 3 levels of certification, which is Proposal Foundation. That is for people with 1 to 3 years of experience. It's a multiple choice question type thing, pretty straightforward. There's the Proposal Practitioner for 3 to 7 years. And then finally, the proposal professional for people with more than 7 years experience. And you know, these are challenging, but they're very rewarding when you get them. They also introduced a few years ago a separate capture practitioner certification for capture managers with 1 to 3 years of experience. And I know that Heather Kirkpatrick actually has that certification. And then they have 3 micro certifications. This is a new thing now. No experience is required, but you can do a micro certification. Right now they have executive summaries, proposal writing, and graphics. I know there's some more in the works. I think there's a competitive assessment price to win thing that's coming up. And I put the URL up there if you're interested. It's apmp.org/certification. Okay, or you can email me and I'll be happy to give you some more information. So the second presentation was a panel discussion featuring 3 early career proposal business development professionals. On the left there, that's Amelia. She's a proposal manager at Amazon Web Services. In the middle is Emily, who was a proposal manager at Arizona State University. And then on the right is Kaylee. She was a technical business development specialist at Sandia National Labs in New Mexico. And they discussed the successes and setbacks and surprises of their first 5 years in the business. You know, what did they expect, what came as a surprise, what are the most enjoyable and least enjoyable aspects of the work, how has supervisors, colleagues, and APMP set the stage for development and retention of talented professionals. And the session was a great opportunity for mid to late career professionals to learn about how to be more effective in recruiting and retaining the next generation of professionals and leaders. And then there was an audience Q&A, and it was a good opportunity for, you know, early career session attendees to receive career guidance and advice. One of the things that surprised me was I learned during this was in fact that even these young professionals in their early 20s, you know, maybe it's a few years out of college, are actually already mentoring the next cadre of young graduates coming into the profession. So that really ties in with what, as a chapter, we are doing with our Intentional Career Path program of actually looking at universities and saying, hey, proposal writing is a career. Proposal development is a career. Developing win strategies is often a frustrating process. Salespeople, proposal specialists, subject matter experts offer varying, sometimes conflicting ideas for key themes and differentiators. And what the client actually cares about often gets lost in the discussions and cryptic emails. So as a result, we insert half-baked win themes and unchecked differentiators that often get dissected and ripped apart during reviews, days before a deadline. Rewriting and cleaning up these messes costs time and money we don't have. Fortunately, there is a better way to solve many of these issues. So this was an interactive presentation, showed how we can combine lean tools and techniques with virtual technology and proposal management best practices to garner input from all the stakeholders early in the process, refocus our strategies on our clients, and ultimately to win. So the presenter here is Tobin Spratt, who is actually our vice chair for the chapter. He's a proposal and business development strategist at Haley & Aldrich, which is a civil engineering and what's the right word? You know, clean-up company for doing nuclear sites and that kind of thing. And what he did, he actually was using Microsoft's whiteboarding tool, and that comes free if you have a Microsoft 365 license. The whiteboarding tool is in there, and it's built into Microsoft Teams. And I know that I've played with it a little bit, but what surprised me is actually all the templates that come with the whiteboard. So there are a whole bunch of different templates that you can use for people to put in post-it notes and things like that. And it's a bit like a mind mapping thing, but you know, I think we should all probably spend some time. If you have Microsoft Teams or you have Microsoft 365, play with the whiteboarding tool, look at the templates and see perhaps how we could use those going forward in the work that we do. I think that was quite a revelation to me. Anyway, so that was the wrap up for Thursday. Thursday evening we had a great social event at a little restaurant called Naples Ristorante e Bar, which is an odd mix of English and Italian. which is in downtown Disney. If you know Disneyland at all, it's a little strip of restaurants and things like shops and things. And we had a little patio to ourselves, and it was a great evening. Nice to talk to people and, you know, have a nice social event. So Friday, what happened on Friday? So first up, this is a complicated title, isn't it? We actually had all of Friday morning was like an artificial intelligence thread to look at how we can use artificial intelligence in the proposal development process. First up, this is Steve Aberle, who's co-founder of the Rohirrim. Great name for a company, and I thought that was great. Their software program's called Rohan, so it's, if you know your Lord of the Rings. This is a startup company dedicated to bringing domain-aware generative AI technology to enterprises. And so the world of proposal writing is quickly reaching an inflection point where human creativity converges with the vast potential of these large language models. A new era of proposal writing has begun to emerge, one defined by the harmonious collaboration of human ingenuity and artificial intelligence. So that's what he talks about, ink and algorithms. Steve's presentation delved into the journey of creating the world's first assisted proposal writing large language model, designed to harness the synergy between a human's ability for creative storytelling alongside the computational power of language models. I think this presentation actually gave me a very good understanding of what large language models are and what they can do. And their first attempts at creating a domain-aware system, which is not a system that goes out to the entire internet, but a system that's looking at all of your material and all of your old proposals and your marketing material, so it's very much domain-specific for you. They tried to do the system to write proposals, and it was a failure because although the neural networks that they created were very good at finding relevant information, they could never present it as persuasive text. In other words, tell stories. And I know this is a thing that AJ is very keen on, this idea of storytelling in a proposal to differentiate yourself and to make yourself more persuasive. So one of the problems that I learned with these large language models, ChatGPT, most of us have had a play with ChatGPT or Bing conversations. I found them both incredibly useful for finding information quickly. But one of the problems is when you ask ChatGPT, the newer versions of it, to write something for you, you have to remember that the early versions were trained on an internet that had mainly human-written content. And the problem now is that the internet contains an increasing amount of AI-written content. So the AI is learning off of itself, and it's just not the same. So I'm not saying you're getting garbage out, but you know, what's true, what's not true. That's one of the problems here. Okay, so it's a fascinating presentation. Steve was a very dynamic presenter, interesting guy to chat to, just, you know, totally lives and breathes AI within the proposal context. Following on the AI theme, next up was Amy and Marty. So they are drawing on 3 years of experience supporting Microsoft's Proposal Center of Excellence and this year's emergence of AI, and gave us an overview of Microsoft's AI co-pilots and how they will change and enhance proposal development. Amy provided some further industry overview, analysis and strategy. So Marty leads the Proposal Center of Excellence in doing the research in AI accelerated proposal development tools, and Amy is at Shipley Associates. Interesting look into how Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI for 365, and its capabilities. You can already play with this in Bing Chat Enterprise, which some of us have. I have that on my, suddenly appeared during a Windows update. On the Windows 11 taskbar, there's the Copilot preview icon. But the intention is Microsoft will roll this out to all of their 365 apps, Microsoft Dynamics, GitHub, Azure, that kind of thing. Basically, the lesson learned from this was get on the AI train now, or you're going to miss out because, you know, right now you can probably be an early adopter. Leave it too long and you're going to be waiting. The final AI presentation was from Mel McCumian, who's a Chief Marketing Officer at AI Forces, which is a leading edge training ground for AI readiness for corporations and educators. So as AI continues to revolutionize proposal management, this fusion of AI with governance and ethics presents unique challenges. So Mel looked at governance principles and their role in ensuring transparency, accountability and fairness in AI practices. She looked into some of the ethical dilemmas, including data privacy, algorithm bias, and stuff like that. And you know, for example, with let's talk about the bias, algorithm bias. So let's say, for example, if you said you trained your AI to evaluate job submissions using resumes of predominantly white men, then the AI would see white men as superior to other genders and ethnicities. And so you need to make sure you take that bias out of there. And she also looked into things like the fact that September the 6th, California introduced an executive order focusing on shaping the future of ethical, transparent and trustworthy AI. And she looked at how it would adhere to data protection laws such as GPDR and CCPA here in California. Just want to mention our sponsors we had for the event, SMA. Thank you, SMA, for sponsoring the event. And of course, Rohirrim. And we had some others as well. So we can't do it without our sponsors, and we really appreciate it. And that took us to lunchtime. Here's our lunch. It's nice being at Disney and having lunch outside and having the monorail go over every 10 minutes, which is different. After lunch, we actually had an interesting presentation from Kevin Conniff of Northrop Grumman Mission Systems on basically shredding for success, the value of a compliance matrix. I think this was a good, solid presentation on a topic that all of our proposal managers would innately understand. I just shredded 2 RFPs for one of our clients using the exact process and format that Kevin described. I'm sure it's new to some attendees because 50% of the attendees at these conferences are generally the first timers. So stuff like this, which we've been doing for years, is a good solid foundation for them. So, and also a little break from doing AI stuff. And our last session was actually a panel. Here we are with Mel and Marty and Steve from left to right, and we actually had an online QR code. Thanks Tom Paisley for creating that, which allowed people to submit questions to the panel on AI topics for proposal development. So it was a good wrap up to the day, a good day and a half of very interesting stuff, particularly talking about AI and how we're going to use it in proposal development. So you can actually find, if you're interested, all of these presentations are available. Go to apmp-western.org and then you can click on resources and go down to the Western Region Conference 2023 and find the presentations. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that little wrap up of the APMP Western Region Conference. If you are a proposal professional, I really encourage you to see what your local chapter at APMP is doing. There are chapters all over the country, and in fact there are chapters all over the world. So we put on a great conference, and thank you to all of our board members who helped organize that.